if you talk about them winning, then you can say, okay, this team is 3-1. They're about to face one of the top defenses in football, a defense that's only given up 147 yards passing the game. And by the way, Megatron plays defensive end for him, and his name is Myles Garrett. How are they going to protect Aaron Rodgers at the age of 41? How is Aaron Rodgers going to get the ball to DK Metcalf when Denzel Ward is locked up on him? And you know why it's important, Stephen A? Because at 3-1, they are in the hunt. They in the hunt to win the AFC North. Everybody there is terrible. Now, the Bills then lost. They show crack. Kansas City ain't Kansas City. The Chargers losing. And you worried about Dylan Gabriel? I told you, man, you be double-dutching. Like, you can't claim us no more. You ain't no real fan, bruh.
First of all. Yeah, I'm glad. And I'm glad both of y'all here for this, because both of y'all getting on my damn nerves. He accused me of double dutching last week, and then now you accusing me of doing it this week. Y'all ain't gonna get away with this double dutch comment too much. Ain't nobody scared of y'all. Let me tell you something right now. You said it best. You understand? You are a player. I'm a fan. So let's talk about it from the fandom perspective. Since you want to ignore, you want to talk about the player perspective, right? You want to say they won. You want sitting there watching that game and going like this. Damn, how the hell they come back? How Minnesota coming back? How are they on the verge about to win this game? I mean, the Steelers dominate for 3.5 quarters. Going to fly all the way over to Ireland. You understand? Got everybody doing features about the Steelers and their connection to the Irish coach and all of that stuff. And they're about to blow this damn game, okay? This is what we're talking about here, okay? It's a Carson Wentz. Let's not forget that. The Carson Wentz, all right? So that's number one. Number two, when we sit up there, right? Cam, you can talk about this and the double dutching. I don't mind. Damn it, my sisters taught me how to double dutch when I was young. I don't do it anymore, but damn it, I did it when I was young. I don't do it on first take. Here's the issue. Steelers have not won a playoff game since 2016. I get to look at them and go like this. Is that going to beat the Buffalo Bills? Is that going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Is that going to beat the Denver Broncos? Is that going to beat the way I'm watching the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars look this year? Are we going to get a playoff win? I get to ask that question because the last time the Steelers, forget the fact that the last time they won a playoff game was 2016. The last time they were relevant in the postseason was when they lost to Jacksonville. We remember that, RC? Yes, 45-42. 2017, Cam. The Jacksonville Jaguars dropped 45 on them, led by Blake Bortles. I'm going to say it again. Blake Bortles. Don't talk to me about fake Steeler fandom. I have suffered. Steeler Nation has suffered. We want results. There's nothing wrong with that. Love Tomlin. You know, love Coach T. You understand? Aaron Rodgers, them to upgrade from the Mitchell Trubisky's and the Mason Rudolphs. They gave us Mason Rudolph. They gave us Mitchell Trubisky. Last year, they tried to sell us on Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. We have suffered. They kept Big Ben Roethlisberger for 2 years longer than you should have. Steeler Nation has suffered. And I'm telling you right now, Cam, I'm telling you right now, RC, which y'all could be a double dutcher. Steeler Nation will double dutch with me all day on this topic. They will not side with RC. They will side with me. They will say, we are tired of the suffering. We need more, period. Don't come to me with that. Don't y'all even think about it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Cam, go ahead, man.
So, I mean, you can, listen, you can huff and puff and do all that riffraff, but we're not talking about the playoffs here, respectfully. I think we're worried more about this week coming up. Yeah, you get to talking and rubbing and revving up and doing all that stuff and pointing and looking at me, fixing your shirt and doing all that. We don't care about that. The discussion was about this week, Dylan Gabriel or Aaron Rodgers. And your Pittsburgh Steelers have their real first matchup of the year that we're really excited about, and we're going to see if they're fit for it. And to be honest with you, do I think that they're going to even have any relevance to the playoffs? They may go, but we may see the same same results because of the offensive amenities. All right, let's see what they're going to do versus a real competitor on defense that the Cleveland Browns pose for them.
Oh, so you talk about a real competitor on defense. Last time I checked, Brian Flores had the Vikings defense looking pretty decent. Last time I checked.
So now you're switching. And they played good on offense.
What?
They played good on offense. They played
I know
good.
that. I'm talking about going into the game. I'm saying going into the game, we were looking at Minnesota as a formidable foe.
Yeah.
We're looking at Cleveland, and we're saying you can barely score. So if you score a couple of touchdowns, you should be able to beat them. You walked into the Meadowlands at MetLife Stadium for the season opener. It was supposed to be Aaron Glenn and this Jets defense. Let's see what was going to happen. And then we were excited because we saw the Steelers drop plus 30 on them. We were very excited about that. All I'm trying to say is I answered the question. I didn't double dutch. I didn't tap dance. I said I'm more intrigued by seeing what Dylan Gabriel is. You know why, Cam? Because I expect the Steelers to beat the Cleveland Browns. I expect them to handle their business in Pittsburgh against a no offense having Cleveland Browns squad. And if they don't, I'm going to have a problem with that too.
What happened?
Okay,
What's up?
What is wrong with
Stephen
you?
A., I just want to ask you this question since you all riled up, and I like where you at right now. I'm going to match your energy, but I'm going to do it in a more subtle way. You speak about the Steelers not having a playoff win since 2016. Do you really think they have what it takes to win in the AFC, just to win a playoff game this year, going up against what the AFC presents to them?
Do I think the Steelers have what it takes?
To win a playoff game.
I think they can win a playoff game.
Are you
I think
exactly?
I think they can win a playoff game this year.
I think
they can win a playoff
and that's
game
why
this
this week is important. This week is important because not only can they win a playoff
they're
game,
gonna beat them.
they get the whole.
Are y'all listening to me? I'm not considering Cleveland a big test because they can't score. They shouldn't be able to score against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh should win this game. They should win this game. I'm assuming they're going to win it.
You know what? You got sweatpants on the bottom energy right now.
Oh, my God.
That's what you got right now.
I bet you won't stand up. I bet you won't stand up. I bet you won't stand up. I bet you won't stand up.
I bet he
I bet you won't stand up.
I bet he won't.
I bet you won't stand up. I bet you won't stand
Screaming,
up.
and this is why.
Steelers Nation, this is exactly the kind of move that makes you realize why the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the smartest, most strategic organizations in the entire NFL. Once again, Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin are proving that no detail is too small when it comes to gaining an edge, especially inside the AFC North, where every inch, every play, every piece of inside information can mean the difference between victory and heartbreak. And this week, as the Steelers prepare for a huge divisional matchup against the Cleveland Browns, the team just made a move that could tilt the balance in their favor once again. Pittsburgh has officially added former Browns defensive lineman KJ Henry, and let me tell you, this signing is about way more than just depth on the roster. This is chess, not checkers. Let's start with what this means in the bigger picture. The Steelers aren't just signing another defensive player, they're adding a mind with knowledge of how the Browns operate. Henry was literally in Cleveland's locker room just weeks ago. He was in their training camp, sitting in their defensive meetings, watching their coaches set up schemes, understanding their tendencies. And now, just days before the Steelers line up against the Browns, he's switching sides. You better believe that Tomlin and defensive coordinator Terrell Austin are going to pick that brain for every single insight it can offer. This isn't a coincidence, this is strategy. And we've seen this play out before. Pittsburgh has made it almost a habit to sign or bring in players from divisional rivals over the years, especially from the Ravens, to get a glimpse into how those systems work. And for a while, it worked beautifully. The Steelers rattled off win after win against Baltimore because they knew how to attack, how to counter, and how to anticipate. It's one of those under-the-radar moves that doesn't always make the headlines, but makes a real impact on Sundays. Now, KJ Henry might not be a household name, but don't underestimate his value. This guy was a fifth-round pick out of Clemson, a school that's produced NFL-caliber defenders for over a decade. He was part of that dominant Tigers front that terrorized college quarterbacks, putting up 13 sacks and over 120 tackles across his career. He's got size, length, and the kind of motor that coaches love to work with. And while he didn't quite stick with the Browns, it's not because of talent. It's because he was buried behind a loaded defensive line featuring Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, and Dalvin Tomlinson. There's no shame in that. Sometimes you just need a different system and a coaching staff willing to tap into your potential. And the Steelers, they've done that time and time again. Look at what's happened with players like Jack Sawyer. He came in raw, needing to adapt from college edge rushing to the Steelers' 3-4 scheme, and now he's finding a real rhythm. Look at Nick Herbig, who's turned into one of the sneakiest rotational weapons on this defense. The Steelers have a track record of taking guys other teams overlook and turning them into playmakers. And that's exactly what could happen here with Henry. But there's an even more fascinating layer to this. Henry didn't just spend time with the Browns, he also spent time with the Cincinnati Bengals last year. That's 2 AFC North rivals in back-to-back seasons. Do you realize what that means for preparation? This man has seen the inside of both Cleveland and Cincinnati's defensive setups. He's gone up against their offenses in practice. He knows personnel tendencies, play-calling habits, and locker room culture. And now he's in black and gold, just in time for the Steelers to face both of those teams in back-to-back weeks. You couldn't script that any better if you tried. The Steelers face the Browns this Sunday, and then the Bengals on Thursday Night Football just a few days later. That's a brutal stretch, and having someone like Henry on your sideline, even if he doesn't take a snap, can make a huge difference. He can point out alignment cues, blocking tells, or how certain players react in specific formations. Sometimes just knowing that one detail, that a guard leans when pulling or a tight end signals a screen, can be the key to forcing a turnover. And in a division where margins are razor thin, that's everything. Now let's not ignore the practical football side. Henry is a natural 4-3 defensive end, but he's got the athleticism to adapt. He's 6'4", around 290 pounds, with long arms and real burst off the line. The Steelers run a 3-4 base, but they love hybrid players, those who can play multiple spots, shift from standing edge to hand-in-the-dirt rusher, and even contribute on special teams. That's the type of versatility Tomlin values. Remember, that's exactly how they turned guys like Bud Dupree and Alex Highsmith into productive, every-down threats. So don't be surprised if they experiment with Henry as a rotational outside linebacker, especially given how much they like to disguise their fronts. And if you think this move is just about having intel, think again. The Steelers have been on a roll when it comes to signing recently released veterans who come in hungry to prove themselves. Take Jabril Peppers, for example. He was signed off the street after being cut by the Patriots, and in Week 3 he lit up his former team for one of his best performances in years. You could see the fire in his eyes, the determination to show New England they made a mistake. That's the kind of energy a guy like KJ Henry could bring. He's been bounced around the AFC North, he's seen how those teams operate, and now he has a chance to get revenge, not just on one of them, but maybe both. The timing of this move is brilliant too. Henry was signed right before the walkthrough weekend, which means he won't play this Sunday. But that's okay, because by the time Week 8 rolls around, when the Steelers face another physical opponent and rotation depth becomes crucial, Henry could be fully acclimated to the system. He'll know his assignments, he'll understand the playbook, and most importantly, he'll be motivated. Guys like that, overlooked, released, doubted, they play with a different kind of passion, and that's what makes the Steelers' defense so dangerous. Let's talk big picture again. Pittsburgh is 3-4, riding momentum and eyeing back-to-back divisional wins that could cement their control over the AFC North. The Ravens are banged up, the Browns are inconsistent, and the Bengals look lost without rhythm. The Steelers can't afford to slip, and they're not planning to. Moves like this, smart, subtle, and strategic, show that the organization is thinking several steps ahead. And KJ Henry may not headline ESPN's front page, but these are the kinds of acquisitions that make championship teams. Because while everyone else is watching highlight reels, the Steelers are studying the details, strengthening their depth, and adding pieces that help them win in the margins. This isn't a panic move, this is a power move. It's the kind of quiet confidence that has defined the Steelers for decades. Think about it. For years, this franchise has built success not by chasing headlines, but by building complete teams. From the Steel Curtain era to the modern-day Watt-led defense, Pittsburgh's formula has always been the same. Find smart, tough, disciplined players who know how to prepare and how to compete. KJ Henry fits that mold perfectly. He's smart, coachable, and experienced against the very teams Pittsburgh needs to beat most. So, as the Steelers head into this critical stretch, one thing is clear. This organization is not just fighting to survive, they're preparing to dominate. Every decision, every roster move, every calculated risk is designed to give this team an edge. And as we've seen so many times before, it's those small, behind-the-scenes moves that can end up changing the trajectory of a season. Steelers Nation, this is what winning organizations do. They prepare, they adapt, they think ahead. And now they've added another tool, another mind, another competitor who could help them lock down this division and push towards something bigger. What do you think, Nation? Is KJ Henry the kind of under-the-radar addition that could quietly help the Steelers dominate the AFC North? Do you like this kind of strategic signing? A player who brings both knowledge and motivation to prove himself? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you believe in the Steelers' vision, if you're ready for another playoff run, hit that like button, subscribe to Steelers Nation Wire, and let's keep this momentum rolling. Because make no mistake, Pittsburgh isn't just collecting players, they're collecting advantages. And when the playoffs come around, those little advantages can turn into something legendary.